Yeah, I think that's why it's not quite.
When lasagna is on the menu, Julie Connor's family makes the trip to Hudson, Wisconsin
Not quite done lasagna yet.
from all around the Twin Cities. It seems like an ordinary dinner, one that the average family might take for granted. But not this family.
It was January 18th, 2017, and I was working with a trainer at Lifetime Fitness. Her name is Abby. It was maybe a minute or so that I started with her right there, and what she tells me is I looked at her and reached for her, and she caught me, and I said, "Oh, Abby," or something to that nature, and just totally collapsed.
Thinking quickly, the trainer called 911, triggering a response from Woodbury Public Safety.
Call came in as a cardiac arrest. A lot of times we get those calls. I mean, you know, they could be a diabetic reaction. It could be that somebody just worked out too hard and, you know, were just dehydrated and they passed out. You know, we still treat it as a cardiac arrest and go from there.
Woodbury's public safety system is set up so that the nearest officers can respond during any crisis. 2 police officers, Sergeant Chris Donahoe and Officer Chris Ployhart, were the first on the scene. They found Julie in full cardiac arrest.
As an officer, you don't get a lot of these calls because the paramedics deal with the majority of the medicals. But when you hear someone's down, a lot of times officers will go to assist in case it is a cardiac arrest, because having been on so many of them, you know how much it entails.
Sergeant Donahoe, who has training as a paramedic, began leading operations.
You could see a crowd had gathered, kind of directed me to where she was, and got there and you know, did a quick assessment, checked for breathing, checked for pulse, didn't find any.
The officer's first priority was to start the heart.
Officer Ployhart arrived shortly thereafter. Seeing that there wasn't any active breathing or a feelable pulse, I directed him to do chest compressions to get the oxygen that was already in her system recirculating again.
Shortly after, Woodbury EMS arrived. Paramedic Val Huerta led the team of responders trying to save Julie's life. Through the use of meds, an AED, and Lucas device, Julie's heart began to pump, but she was still not responding.
The medics and everyone that was there in the crew were to talk about, this is really odd. We come to find out later that she had a brain bleed, which then in turn caused a cardiac arrest, which is the reason why we were able to bring her back so quickly. It really wasn't a heart problem, it was a brain problem that caused her heart to stop. So by the quick response of doing CPR, getting a medication in her, and then shocking her, we were able to get her heart going again.
The paramedics loaded Julie into the ambulance. Recognizing the serious situation she was in, they traveled to Regions Hospital, which is better equipped to handle brain injuries. As the ambulance left, Julie's son Nathan was called by Lifetime Fitness to explain what was happening.
And they just asked if I had gotten a call from him yet. And I said I hadn't, but I wasn't really interested in renewing my membership because I had been a member there. And he said, "No, this is about Julie Connor." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "We're calling to let you know that Julie Connor collapsed at the gym this morning while she was working out."
Nathan raced to the hospital, arriving at the same time as Julie.
I actually opened the doors on the ambulance before they were even ready to open them. You know, it's a terrifying sight to see somebody you love in that bad a shape. And there's kind of silence for the first second when I opened those doors, and then I was fully expecting somebody to say, "You can't be here," or "We need you to get out of the way." And one of the EMTs just looked at me and he said,
"Okay, we got a pulse back. All that's good, and we're just doing everything we can."
Grab her arm and help us wheel her inside. And there was something about those words that he said that were really calming and really reassuring. But mostly it was just, I could tell how much those guys cared about her and about what they were doing.
Although she was at the hospital, she wasn't out of the woods yet.
I kept bugging that doctor for the half hour, the 45 minutes we were in the emergency room, you know, what are her chances? What can we do? Is there anything else we can do? And he said, "Nope, we just got to get a CT scan, but your mom's definitely one of the sickest people in the hospital right now." And you know, it was pretty apparent that our chances weren't great, and that it was going to be a long haul.
Her outcome looked grim. Only about 7% of people who suffer ruptured aneurysms survive. On life support, Julie was rushed in for emergency brain surgery in a last-ditch effort to save her life. She underwent a second surgery in the evening to put drains in her skull to relieve the pressure on the brain. Miraculously, she survived.
I don't remember ever feeling any of that. I think I asked Nate a couple times when I finally got extubated with the ventilator and whatnot if I was dying. And he goes, "No, you've already done that a couple times." So that was a good response.
Weeks of therapy were ahead of her, but through it all, her children and grandchildren were there for her. On April 3rd, 2017, for the first time since the incident, Julie made a return to Woodbury, this time to meet the men that saved her life.
You know, I've been doing this job just a little over 20 years now, and I've never had success with saving a patient. And it was just cool to see, you know, her come back and like she's living life, she's happy, her son's super happy. So it was a cool experience.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear from the people that want to come back and thank us. We don't expect people to come back and thank us. It's our job, just like it's someone's job to be working at Wells Fargo today. It's our job. That's what we get paid for. This is what we do. This is the line of duty that we decided to do.
To the officers of the Public Safety Department, it's all in a day's work. To the family of Julie Connor, it's the work of extraordinary people.
I do have a different feeling now when I see an ambulance with its lights on the highway. And just makes you think about the people that are in there, both people that are having a really tough day, and also the heroes that are in there, you know, trying their best to save a life that day. And it really makes you look at ambulances in a different way after that experience.
So, tonight's menu includes lasagna, salad, and bread. But it also includes an ingredient that could have been lost forever a year ago. The love of a mother, a grandmother, and a friend.
Everything that they did for me was just amazing. And then to have the outcome I had, I mean, it couldn't have been better, honestly, it couldn't have. That team set me up for success. So I'm very grateful.